かけてみようか打ち取られた奇跡から充満してく術を挑戦のオーバータイム導くジェニュアなノーパで熱く燃えたぎる鼓動を破裂しても
Hi everybody, this is Kevin and welcome back to another anime review. And today I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on Eden Zero episode 32, which I have to say was a nice change in pace compared to the last two episodes where it was all depressing. You know, our heroes lost to Draken Joe, Weiss had his arm chopped off, Shiki had been killed, and then Rebecca was just sitting there for 7 days wondering what to do until her Cat Leaper Ether Gear ability finally activated and she was able to go backwards in time. Because, like all Hiro Mashima series, there are time travel shenanigans, so of course Eden Zero had to have it. But anyway, our heroes now have a new plan. They're going to go in there, defeat Draken Joe and the Element 4, and rescue Labilia. We got to see the Shining Stars in action against the Element 4, hence the title of this week's episode, 4 vs 4. And it appears to me that they're going to extend the fights in the anime compared to the manga, because, you know, in the manga it's a couple pages. In this week's episode, only one of the 4 fights was resolved, so that's good to know. We're going to probably get a fight in episode. And then, while the Shining Stars are taking on the Element 4, we had Shiki's group, along with Rebecca, Weiss, Happy, and Pino, take a spaceship to go to where Draken Joe is and rescue Labilia. And a great sequence where Rebecca's piloting the ship. All these missiles are firing at her. She's avoiding them at first, but then she's getting hit. And then Shiki goes on the outside of the spaceship and creates a barrier with his gravity ether gear. Such a badass pose. I love that scene. The interactions with the Shining Stars versus the Element 4 was great. I mean, we had Laguna versus Witch, Hermit versus Phi, the rematch of Homura versus Clean, and then Sister versus Daichi. And lots of great stuff. Their outfits were so good. I like how all the Shining Stars, they have their whole thing where they're robots or androids, whatever you want to call them. I guess they're more like androids, but they all claim to have feelings and hearts. And the Element 4 is like, that's preposterous. What do you mean hearts? And that's what they fight for their friends and to prove that they actually have hearts and have feelings. So that's some really good stuff. Once Shiki's group gets on top where Draken Joe is supposed to be, they're encountered by Master Noah, right? Which is a very mysterious character as of right now. By the end of the arc, hopefully things make sense of him, but he appears as a hologram. Shiki tries to punch him and he's like, oh, I'm a hologram, you can't touch me. And he says, I'm the one pulling the strings, when we thought that he was working with Draken Joe, but no, he's like in cahoots with Draken Joe as a farce to get information and then in the hopes that he can defeat him. And he's like, I'm sorry I had to put you through all that pain, Rebecca, but you know, we have to get to his secrets, how we can defeat him. You found his weakness, right? And she's like, well, no, I didn't find his weakness. And he's like, well, I'll tell you some more info about him. They call him Undead Joe. I think in the manga they call him like DJ. It's like Draken Zombie, DJ Zombie, something like that. I don't know. They have some weird nicknames for him. And it shows how he has this healing vat where he's basically immortal, right? He constantly heals himself. He's really old. He's like hundreds and hundreds of years old. And he just absorbs ether from other people, which maybe I'm kind of spoiling ahead of other events that are going to happen, but you know, I've read the manga, so I can't really control myself, but let's just say there's a bigger connection between him and Weiss. So yeah, they learn now that Draken Joe is immortal in a certain degree, and they got to find a way to stop him from healing himself with the ether gear that he drains from other people. And as he's revealing all this stuff, his hologram dies, and it shows him back at where is he? Blue Guard? I think that's the planet he's on. And he's like, well, you're my last hope, so hopefully you guys can win. And then it shows some more of the battle of the Shining Stars. With Daichi, he brings out a stupid coin again, like, I haven't tortured in 60 days. I'm lifting the torture van. Sister kicks him in the balls, and she's like, you're an amateur. Let me show you this coin. And she whips out her 10-year torture-free coin, which they're both bullshit artists, because Sister was torturing Maria not too long ago, and he was torturing Rebecca. So, you know, apparently they're masochists who like to torture people. They're into BDSM, but they claim that they're not into it anymore. But so the two of them are fighting. The main fight here is Hermit versus Phi, which he has the element of fire, and he's a sniper. And he gets a few hits on Hermit and then hides away in his spot to snipe her out. But she uses her hacking abilities to get in there and seize control of all his ether weapons and then kills him. And then it says, you know, I have a heart and you fool. And that's how the episode ends. So lots of good stuff. I'm going to show you some of the screenshots now. Overall, I very much enjoyed this episode. It's been a great adaptation so far. I'm looking forward next week just based on the title. It looks like it's going to be Homer versus Clean in the, you know, the main focus of next week's episode. So looking forward to that. Homer looked great. All the ladies looked great, but especially Homer, let me tell you. So anyway, this is them where Jock and Joe's located. They're barreling in. He's like, oh, you fools, you'll never stop me. And that's the main goal. Rebecca wants to rescue Lobelia. And they're encountered by the Element 4. look at all their faces. We have these two jokers, and then Laguna and Clean are more serious. So with that, Rebecca takes her friends in the ship, and the Shining Stars stay behind. We have this guy tries to shoot Rebecca's ship, but Hermit, with her hacking abilities, stops him. And there's a lot of panty shots, too. I didn't get a screenshot of her skirt going up, but that was on full display. Daichi comes racing to attack Sister, and she just punches him. You'll be fighting with me, you pig! And then that's the rematch with Clean versus Homura. Right? Which I really like this screenshot, again, showing, because that's one of the themes going on in Eden Zero, is the fact that these androids have feelings and can show emotions as well. And I mean, she's robotic, but you can see like her eye right there. I thought this was a nice screenshot, and that's in the manga as well. So this is them with their battle dress requip going on, and they're able to do it. Homer has to whip out her smartphone to use Weiss's app to do it, but they requip in their sexy attire, and looking good. 4 versus 4, huh? So that's that. There's Rebecca's ship getting attacked. And this is in the manga too, I swear, man. Hiromashima, he loves his fan service, but you have this angle in the manga, so you gotta have it in the anime, right? So she's there. This is such a badass pose of Shiki blocking the attacks. He's using the gravity ether gear to make it like this force field. I thought that was cool. Oh yeah, Mosco's with them too. Moscoid! This Jamoke. Yeah, because he can't really do anything against the Element 4, so he went with them. So they encounter Master Noah, and they think he's a bad guy because of what, you know, at least what was implied that he did last week. So Shiki attacks him. He's a hologram, and he's talking about, you know, all these different near-death experiences you've had, Rebecca. How do you think you survived? And we get a flashback to when she was young. She was almost hit by a car, and Happy ran over, and that's why Happy's an android now. So we get a flashback there. There were some other flashbacks to her previous fights against Nino during the Sun Jewel arc. So she's used it a bunch of different times. That's the 30th time when she's, you know, gone back a full week before they invaded Belial Gore. And he says the only world that can defeat him. So it's all his plan because he wants to defeat Jock and Joe, and they're his pawns. So back over here, he's using his water sword, and the Steel Sorceress here can use all sorts of magic, ends up using lightning. We get Hermit's smug face. This is this is a common thing in the manga too. Hermit always makes these cute little faces like, ha, you think you got me? Because yeah, she takes control of one of Phi's drones and starts firing it back at him. So gotta love Hermit. Sister is taunting Daichi like, oh, you look like you'll say Moscow or something, you pig. Comparing Daichi to her associate Moscow. So he claims he hasn't tortured in 60 days, which he's full of shit. And he does his torture band dance. And Sister kicks him in the balls, which I have the gif of this, so you can watch that. It's so funny. And the scream he makes when he gets hit in the balls is so funny. Yeah. Just look at her face with her arms crossed, like, I don't have time for your nonsense, you pig. What an amateur. And she takes out her little tenure coin, you can see right there, and she throws it at him. She's a 10-year torture-free ex-dominatrix. Bullshit! And throws the coin at his ass. Which again, I have a gif of this too. She winds it up like a fucking baseball and throws it at his ass. Oh my god, it was so funny. So then we got Homura versus Clean. And again, she looks beautiful in her outfit right there. Gotta love that. This is when Noah reveals that Draken Joe is part of the Irrational Cease Galactica, which, again, that's another Mashima thing. The Irrational Cease. Undead Joe. Yeah, later on they call him, like, DJ Zombie. Draken Joe, yeah, he's immortal, essentially. And he sucks the life from people with their ether gear. So, they can't kill him. And as he's trying to tell him that, he disappears. There's no more second chances. So, if you're like just an anime viewer, he shows up a lot later on in the manga. But for now, it's like, okay, what's this guy's real motive? So, Fa uses his fire ether gear. Hermit's kind of shocked now, like, oh, what do I do? So, he gets the upper hand. And then he turns himself into fire and, like, creeps up the air duct to go to his sniping location. Ready to fire. And Hermit, with her hacking ether gear abilities, hacks all his ether guns, right? So she's controlling them all. And, again, does her little smug face and defeats him. So that's good. And this is how the episode ends. I can show kindness because I know pain. That's the way my heart works. So yeah, the thing with the Shining Stars is, again, they're androids, but they're trying to prove to people that they can be friends of humans and that they all have hearts. So yeah, overall, I enjoyed the episode. Very good. Can't wait to see next week's episode, to see Homura in action against Clean, and whatever else may happen. So thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and stay tuned for more videos coming soon. Peace out.
99.